It's Monday, it's March 2nd. It's Here First from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. Republicans who represent Iowa in Congress are expressing their views on President Trump's objectives in Iran. Senator Joni Ernst says Trump's decision to strike Iran will bring peace and stability to the Middle East and the world. Senator Chuck Grassley says the U.S. can't allow unpredictable leadership in Iran to have a nuclear bomb. 3rd District Congressman Zach Nunn says Iran slaughtered thousands of Iranians who bravely stood up against the regime, and he says the future of Iran rests in the hands of the Iranian people. 1st District Congresswoman Marinette Miller-Meeks says the world cannot allow a nuclear-armed Iran, but Miller-Meeks also says the U.S. cannot rush blindly into another endless conflict. 4th District Congressman Randy Feenstra, who's also running for governor, says Iran's nuclear ambitions are dangerous, and this operation works to prevent the country from having nuclear weapons. 2nd District Congresswoman Ashley Hinson, who's running for the U.S. Senate, says this operation makes clear that the U.S. will not sit down while Iran threatens U.S. troops, allies, or the country. State Representative Josh Turek, one of 2 Iowa Democrats running for the U.S. Senate, has released a checklist of over 70 policies he would push for if he was elected. Turek, who made campaign stops in Cedar Rapids, Sioux City, and Orange City over the weekend, is proposing a 5-year moratorium that would prevent Wall Street investment firms from buying single-family homes.
We have a massive problem with affordable housing. The average age of a first-time home buyer in this country now is 41 years old. Far too many homes are being bought up right now by Wall Street private equity, and it's impossible for those of us in the middle class to be able to compete with these large Wall Street firms.
Turek says there should be limits on private equity firms owning nursing homes and healthcare clinics. He says he'd support legislation that would ban insurance companies from denying care that is prescribed by a doctor. Zach Walz, who is a state senator, is also running for the Democratic primary that's set for June 2nd. The Board of Regents has told the University of Iowa to move forward with disciplinary proceedings against one of its employees. IPR's James Kelly reports it comes after video surfaced of alleged violations of university and board DEI policies.
The board's recommendation follows a review conducted by prominent conservative law firm Consovoy McCarthy. The review suggested dismissing a complaint against one employee and ordering disciplinary proceedings against another. Earlier this year, undercover videos showed 2 employees discussing the university's compliance with state DEI laws. Board President Robert Kramer says the board's actions are not about politics.
I want to be clear, this review was not about personal viewpoints or differing opinions. This is about compliance with the law. The Board of Regents and its institutions will comply with the law, period.
Kramer did not explicitly say whether it was the actions of those employees in the videos that were being discussed. I'm James Kelly, IPR News.
Corn growers in the Midwest are testing whether they can improve their bottom lines with better soil health and less nitrogen fertilizer. IPR's Rachel Kramer has more.
The Practical Farmers of Iowa research project is designed for farmers who already use practices that support healthy soils like no-till and cover crops. Participants apply their typical nitrogen fertilizer rate and a reduced rate in randomized strips in their fields and share data about their yields, costs, and profits. Kevin Prevost, a farmer in southern Iowa, says this will be his 4th year participating.
It's simple to do, that you can pick where you want to do it and how you kind of want to do it for the most part.
Prevost says his family has found they're able to lower their manure fertilizer rates without hurting yields. He also likes seeing data from other farmers.
If we can learn something from each other, I think that's always beneficial.
A PFI coordinator says enrollment will likely stay open until early April. Farmers are compensated for participating. I'm Rachel Kramer, IPR News.
It's Here First from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. There's a bill in the Iowa State Legislature that would require driver's license tests to only be done in English. Other bills would require immigration status checks to receive a driver's license in Iowa and other areas. We're going to take a look at bills that could impact immigrants in the state. That's in just a moment. Stay with us here on Here First. Welcome back to this legislative Monday of Here First from IPR News. I'm Megan McKinney. We are entering the 8th week of the Iowa legislative session. Bills are being advanced involving immigration, education, and other topics important to Iowans. Here this morning to catch you up on what happened last week in Iowa politics is IPR's Katerina Sestark. Good morning, Katerina.
Good morning, Megan.
So there's a few bills impacting immigrants that advanced last week. Let's start with the bills that would require immigration status checks in a few different areas.
Yeah, the Senate passed several bills that would require the use of federal systems to check Iowans' immigration status for different things. So state officials would have to use the SAVE system to check the citizenship and immigration status of registered voters, people applying for a driver's license, and people applying for public assistance. The Senate also passed a bill requiring various public employers to use E-Verify to ensure new hires are authorized to work in the U.S. And that would apply to state agencies, the legislature, cities, counties, and school districts. Some of these bills would be putting things into law that are already happening. One example of that is the Secretary of State is already using SAVE to check voter citizenship.
Another bill would require driver's license tests only be done in English in Iowa. What are supporters and opponents saying about this one?
Republican supporters of this say it would improve public safety by ensuring drivers understand traffic laws and signs. But Democrats said this could lead to more unlicensed and uninsured drivers, and that allowing tests in other languages helps drivers who aren't proficient in English to understand the traffic laws. Democrats said that this would create barriers to getting a driver's license for immigrants who are an important part of Iowa's workforce.
Moving on to higher education, lawmakers are considering banning diversity, equity, and inclusion offices at some private colleges. Which ones would apply under this bill?
This bill would cut off Iowa tuition grant funds for any private college that has a DEI office or staff. So the Iowa tuition grants are state-funded scholarships for students who go to private colleges, and so they wouldn't be able to use those scholarships at colleges that have DEI offices. And this just continues Republican efforts to restrict DEI-related programs. The legislature has already banned DEI offices at public universities, community colleges, state agencies, cities, and counties. And so this would just extend that to private colleges. And private colleges could still technically have DEI offices under the bill, but then they wouldn't be able to take on the scholarship funding.
Another bill would only affect the state's public universities. The bill would freeze tuition for the next 5 years. What's the support and opposition for this proposal?
This bill passed with bipartisan support, and only a handful of people voted against it. And the supporters say that it'll help bring down the cost of higher education for Iowa families. Typically, the region's universities increase their tuition each year. But some concerns were raised about the public universities' ability to handle the tuition freeze because state funding for the universities has declined over time, and limiting their ability to raise tuition could force them to make significant budget cuts.
Outside of the legislative session, Governor Kim Reynolds is facing backlash for using a state-owned plane to go to official events for the past year. What's going on with this?
The Des Moines Register reported last week that Reynolds has been using a plane bought with COVID-19 relief funds to travel around, and that's a reversal from her predecessor, who said that maintaining planes for the governor's travel wasn't a good use of taxpayer dollars. So reporters were able to ask Reynolds about this, and she said that it's not her plane. She uses different planes owned by the State Patrol for occasional travel for official purposes. And she said it was the Department of Public Safety's idea to buy a larger plane with COVID relief funds for law enforcement purposes. Reynolds says that flying across the state saves her time and allows her to get more done, so it's the right thing to do. But Democrats have criticized her for this, saying that there are better uses for the money, and they accused her of using a state-owned plane to get to a political event. She also did an official governor's office visit on that same trip.
All right. Thank you, Katarina, and we'll hear from you next week.
Thanks, Megan.
And I'm Megan McKinney. Thanks for taking the time to listen to Hear First from IPR today and be informed on a Monday morning. Happy March and have a great day.